happy International Women's Day. I'm Christelle Keefer, the Global Business Development Manager for Education at ABB Robotics, and I'm excited to host today's panel. International Women's Day celebrates the progress we've made toward gender equality, particularly in fields like STEM and robotics. And while we've achieved great strides, there's still more to be done. At ABB, we're committed to increasing female university hires by 50% and achieving 25% female representation in senior management by 2030. Today's conversation is about celebrating this progress while accelerating action to create an inclusive environment where everyone can thrive. So let's dive in. I'm excited to introduce our panelists. Starting with Vanessa Loiola, also known as the Robot Queen. She is the founder and CEO of Valoy Automation, where she simplifies robotics programming to make it more accessible. She is a leading robotics influencer on LinkedIn dedicated to inspiring the next generation and bridging the gap between technology and practical applications. Kate-Feng, who has worked at ABB for more than 7 years, all within robotics R&D in different roles, and for the last 2 years as the Research and Development Manager for robotics in China. We have Roxane Merat, who works at Sevensense, a company that was acquired by ABB in January of 2024. Roxane has been with the company for 8 months as an intern and is now a calibration engineer. Roxane has a master's in robotics from ETH Zurich and previously worked in research in robotics and visual computing. And we have Pavel, who has been working at ABB since 1998 in different roles and areas. He joined ABB Robotics 5 years ago as a regional manager for Eastern Europe, which transferred to Eastern European Cluster in 2025. So welcome, everyone.
Hello and happy International Women's Day.
Hello, everyone. Happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day.
Hello and happy International Women's Day.
All right. Now that we've met our panelists, let's explore the role of diversity, equity, and inclusion. At ABB, these values are the foundation of how we innovate and grow. Through mentorship programs, employee resource groups, and STEM outreach, we create spaces for underrepresented groups to thrive. These efforts build a culture of innovation, shaping the future of robotics and driving sustainable growth. With ABB's commitment to these values in mind, let's turn to our panelists for their insights on how these principles impact our industry. Pavel, to start, let's talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. What does it mean to you, and why is it crucial for fields in robotics?
I think there are no doubts about benefits of diversity, right? There were multiple studies proving that the diverse team are more productive and more efficient and more innovative if they work together. The robotics is a little bit different than the rest of ABB. I've been the diversity ambassador for the last 15 years in different areas of ABB. But robotics as this interdisciplinary subject is very different because you actually need mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, programmer, you name it, in one person. And it's very difficult to find those person alone. And then women are even more difficult to find because the base is not really big, right?
Very great points. My next question is for Vanessa and Roxane. The robotics field still sees a gap in female representation. What was the defining moment for you that led you to pursue a career in robotics, and how did that shape your journey? We'll start with Vanessa.
I say that's a funny story because I really inspired to start in robotics because the movie Iron Man. But I would say the moment I really realized, yeah, that's what I want to do it, was my first time programming the robots. Was a introduction to robotics training, and one of the activities was to program the robot, and seeing that I was able to do that in a few minutes, and it was so easy for me, and just opened my mind that I could do so much more. And for me, that I would say that was the moment that changed my career, because back then I was just an industrial engineer.
There are a lot of things that made me want to become to work in robotics. I've always enjoyed math and science. I started by doing more general engineering, so electrical engineering and mechanical engineering, all combined in one bachelor, let's say. And then we had some robotics introduction courses, and I thought they were extremely fun. And I really enjoyed the fact that there's a lot of theory behind it, but maybe unlike math and physics, you also have very easily like an end product that you can touch and that you can really make yourself, which I think is very, very nice. In general, I also was always aware of some very cool, very intelligent roboticists, which are women. I think we can say, for example, the COO of SpaceX is a woman. The ex-CEO of OpenAI is also a woman. Yeah, I was always looking up to this kind of people. I knew some people, and I also, in general, just enjoy doing robotics. Oh, and I also think that, yes, watching movie when I was a kid, watching a lot of science fiction definitely helped.
Yeah, that's great. So here you can see that you were exposed early on by watching the shows. You had a passion for math and science, and then you had some role models to look up to that kind of helped you get into the area. So those are some key and important things to keep in mind as we start to ignite the spark in the younger generation as well. So role models really matter, and getting that exposure early really matters. Great. Thank you so much for sharing.
You know what? And this is great because this is exactly what I wanted to talk about. Because you women in tech and in robotics are attracting other women because they see it's not impossible and it's actually fun, right? It's great that you represent women in robotics.
Yeah, for sure. It's really important for us all to share our stories and our career paths because we're all so different, but it's inspirational as well to hear all of our stories for everyone to relate and think I can do this. You know, this is a fun, exciting career to be a part of, for sure. Women in STEM often face unique challenges. Roxane, can you share some of the obstacles you faced in your career and how you've navigated them to succeed?
Yes, so I would say my the biggest challenge that I faced was probably a lot of self-doubt. So when I was doing my studies, when I started working, I always considered everybody except me as being like a genius and being so smart and so good at everything. And I myself, since I knew also the things that I struggled with, I was always thinking that I had to work really, really hard to be equal basically to everybody around me and to do a good job. Um, and this, of course, I don't think is specific to women. I think this can happen to everybody, right? But I do believe that it is more present within women. I mean, maybe also because of the lack of role model, but you were talking just before, Christelle. And how I overcome it, I think it's just throughout life, I just had a lot of positive experience. I had a lot of positive feedback. And I just realized that all of this self-doubt was not necessarily founded. Like, it was just a problem, let's say, a bit within myself, and nobody else believed this except me. And yeah, I would say just going through life, doing some projects, having some feedbacks from some colleagues really, really helped me.
I would love to add something here. 2 years ago, when my current job became vacancy, I also self-doubt if I can do the job because I don't have a PhD degree, right? However, it turned out I'm doing a quite a fairly good job. So don't have self-doubt. As long as you have desire, as long as you see you have a good fit here, just try it. Maybe you have some gaps, but it doesn't matter. It will make up.
That's great. So it sounded like you built the confidence. You had the team to support you and cheering you on. You were your own cheerleader as well, and you were able to succeed. Very good. And Kate, please share your experience.
Yes, for sure. We do face with some challenges as ladies in this STEM area. For example, when people know I'm the head of robotics R&D, the first question they have is what kind of PhD I have, because most people think R&D head have to be kind of technical expert, even myself, frankly. Quite often, we may have such kind of unconscious bias in hiring or promotion and evaluation processes, which can impact women's experience and opportunities in STEM field. Like 2 years ago, my current role, the China R&D head position, become vacancy. I did not think I was the best fit. However, I got the opportunity to act the role at interim, and then after 2 months, I think I can do the job. So I applied and went through all the process and finally got the job. So again, this is my personal experience, but I really want us to, to think of this unconscious bias in anything.
We've heard valuable insights from our panelists on diversity, equity, and inclusion in robotics. So let's shift our focus to action. With this year's International Women's Day theme of accelerating action, ABB is committed to driving meaningful change and fostering an inclusive environment. Let's explore the proactive steps we can take to ensure equal representation and opportunities for women in the robotics industry. Many young girls hesitate to pursue careers in STEM due to stereotypes or the lack of role models. What steps can we take to inspire them, and what strategies have you found to be effective?
Well, in my case, what I start doing is showing myself there. Well, now I kind of have the brand, the Robot Queen, but before then I was sharing information and show myself so people can see that there are women over there. And then when I start that movement on LinkedIn, I met so many more that I wasn't aware of. And that inspired me. Then say it was like there are more over there, and we need to show ourselves so the younger generation can see it. Because right now, what we can say is there is not many over there because you're not seeing it. Like where you can see a woman really working it, because I don't know, maybe they don't want to share, or maybe they don't think that is important. I don't know what to say about them. But I say, and I will prove this, when you show yourself with videos, pictures, just like yeah, today I'm working. Look how cool is this? Beside the robot, or even in a factory, just post the pictures so people can see it and just inspired by like proving that we can do it as well. Just being there and be more visible, I would say, for the new generation.
I 100% agree with everything Vanessa say. I think it's very, very important to see other successful women out there and being able to identify ourselves with them. I definitely think also there is a lot of, again, I think I already seen it, very, very powerful women. And it's just, yes, that we don't necessarily hear about them. And I would say that maybe one way of encouraging young women is just to make them aware of all of those amazing people out there.
Yeah, share your story. That's what you can do. Like all of us make mistakes, all of us are learning. We're not perfect, but like we need to share it to show we are here. Like there are some of us, and then we can invite them more. But I think sharing our story is the best way we can do it, and anyone can do it.
Exactly. Yeah, sharing your story is the easiest way. There's also some amazing books out there about women engineers, and there's competitions we can get students involved in. There's some girls clubs, girls who code, things like that. There's a lot of great resources, but sharing your story is the easiest way, and making yourself visible and being a mentor to the younger students, I think is great. All right, given the underrepresentation of women in STEM, what actionable steps can we take to boost female representation and leadership in technical roles within the robotics industry?
My experience is that we always start to recruit talents at the universities, right? And you talk to the professors at the universities, and they say, well, but we are suffering by gender diversity as well. So not too many women are applying for the technical directions at the universities in general, but for robotics even less. And we asked, so what shall we do? They said, you have to go to the secondary schools. So we started to go to secondary schools and promote robotics. But even in secondary schools, they say, well, it's actually too late. You have to attract talents at basic schools. And guess what? We actually ended up in the kindergarten, coming in and then seeing the robots. And it's a real success, I can tell you. Right. And another activity that we do is that we are encouraging young ladies to try it. Right. So there is actually a cooperation with couple of organizations, and then when Gopher is actually coloring their lips, or if the Gopher is feeding them biscuits, and they program it themselves, you see the stars in the eyes, and then it's broken. I mean, the mystery of robotics is broken, right? It's fun. So they are really enjoying it. And I fully agree what Vanessa said. I mean, we have to promote it more because it will attract additional talent and share the stories and share your stories. And we have to do more.
Yeah, I would love to add something here. I really want to encourage all managers when they're doing recruitment, let's advocate for equal opportunities. I want all managers to keep in mind to, instead of check all the must-have competency in the job description, to try to look at what's the most critical competency or what hiring for the potential. And it will make things much clearer. And also, I also want to share with all of you, actually in robotics, China local division, now we have 50% of leadership positions are held by women today. I think our management here are doing a good job in recruitment.
And just adding a little more there where you said why women really don't apply for jobs. That's, I would say, a general thing that I thought was about me, but talking with other women, we realized that we won't apply for a job if we're not 100% sure that we have all the items that you request, the qualification you request on that job position. So women like have that point, but men, no, they really take the risk, even though they have a 70% of what do you require for the job position, they would apply for it, but women would not. And that is something we need to address. What we need to do for the women apply for, like we need more confidence, or like we need to write the job description a little, more simplified. I'm not saying that you're not requiring what you need. It is not that one point in here. It's just how you write that like what you really needed and then what you can, improve it. Because women, unfortunately, have that problem. I would say we need to improve ourselves because not everyone have confidence. And sometimes, as Roxane said, it takes a while to build that. And women would not apply for a lot of requirements because they were like, well, I'm not sure. Like, I don't have all the points, all the requirements. But like, if you feel like 70% of that, you can apply. Like, you can have a job. Like, the men are doing that. Why we cannot do it?
I think it's a great insight, Vanessa. I really like that. And it's even harder for robotics as such because it's, as I said, interdisciplinary field, right? So if you are a pure electrical engineer, I mean, it's easier, but then you have to be a many discipline person, and that's even harder. So it was great insight.
For sure. I agree. And I think, Pavel, your point, start early. Starting the kids younger, that will help build their confidence, right? Having those mentors push you and drive you, saying, yes, go apply for that job. You can do this. Even if you don't meet 100% of it, let's go. So earlier is better, younger is better. They get excited, they see the technology, they realize they can do it. It's just like riding a bike. You start early, you're more successful. If you start later, you're a little more nervous. So
Exactly.
very good. My next question is for Kate. Robotics companies are key in shaping workplace culture. What initiatives have you seen, particularly at ABB, that successfully promote gender equality?
I can think of one initiative, FMDP, a Female Mentoring Development Program. It has blossomed into the regional programs. I think it empowered over 170 women in robotics and discrete automation. Of course, the main objective are to develop and retain our female talents, grow female potentials into more senior leadership positions. And actually, we have seen some successful story here already in China. That's very lovely.
Thank you so much for sharing, Kate. Pavel and Roxane, male allies play an important role in supporting women in STEM. How can male colleagues actively contribute to fostering an inclusive environment?
I definitely think that male allies are important, and it's good for women. It's also good for them, as Pavel said at the beginning. A more inclusive environment is also a more creative environment. How can they help? I think the most important thing is just for them to be aware of the challenges that women can face. I definitely know in my case, I really appreciate some help that I have from my supervisor, pushing me, telling me that I'm doing a good job. Personally, it really helps. And also, not just for men, but it's just for everybody, so men and women included. When you see a situation where maybe somebody is getting less, not the credit that she deserves, and somebody else is taking the credits, or maybe somebody is a bit like speaks a bit less than somebody else, it's also, I think, the role of everybody to speak up and to say something about it, men or women.
Well, my experience is that the female colleagues that I work with, they are just great. I mean, we have some real talents in our organizations. Not too many still, or not enough still, but we have actually some. And the only thing that I see they need a little bit more than their male colleagues is encouragement, because they are doing great. They are doing just perfect, and this encouragement might help. And still, we are working in certain area where the bias is still with our customers that women still are not very common in robotics. And then the male colleagues should actually bridge that with our customers' expectations, right? So we had the example quite recently where the customers was actually surprised that the project manager is a woman for the robotics project. And then her colleague actually asked the customer, do you want to have some other project manager, or you want to have the best project manager? That was so cute.
I love that. That is so special. Very good. Very good. Confidence is key for all of us to succeed. The robotics industry is fast paced and demanding. What are some strategies you use to maintain a healthy work life balance? Let's start with Roxane.
Some strategy, I think, again, we circle back to the question of maybe being a bit less harsh on yourself and being able to tell you, oh, I did a good job today, this is enough for today, I'm confident of what I have achieved today, I can go home. And I think this is something that is not necessarily natural, but it's really key to having a good work-life balance, at least in my case.
For this one, I always reserve my own time, purely my time. No work, no mama job, only doing the things I love. It can be 1 hour Pilates exercise, or half-day museum visit, or few days trip. And these activities can keep me energetic and balanced.
Yeah, at ABB, we're empowered to manage our schedules, which is key to a work life balance. So, my advice would be to find what you're passionate about, such as working out or reading, and then make sure to schedule that time for yourself to do these things to recharge. It's so important to step away, take a break, clear your mind, and come back with fresh ideas and energy. All right, before we wrap up, I want to open it up to all panelists. What advice would you give women looking to grow their careers in robotics?
I would say lose that fear. Like, try it. Because I have that before, the self doubt, like, oh, we might not succeed, or we might not be that good. Well, you don't need to be the best. You just need to be happy, because I felt like this when I started, because I was the only one in everything I started when I was get trained in robotics. When I was starting working in robotics programming, I was the only one, and in most of cases, the first woman. And it was really hard for me because I thought that I need to be better than everybody else to justify my place there. Because otherwise, why I would be there if I was not that good? But then I realized after years now, 6, 7 years, I realized no, you just need to be happy. Everyone there is working what they do. Of course, you need to be a good employee and do a good work. Not saying to be average, but you know, don't need to work that hard to put a lot of pressure to someone to starting. Like, if you're like happy and you're doing what you like and you're doing right, that's enough. And that's okay. Like, we all make mistakes. I make mistakes. I still making mistakes by now after 6 years, and that's normal. And I believe and I want that all the women that want to start understand that you know, mistakes are normal and we learn with that, and you just need to move on. Doesn't need to be perfect. Forget about that. I would say mindset of perfection. You know, just be happy and good, and that's enough to start.
And it's always a learning journey. The challenges are what makes us stronger. We're constantly learning to grow stronger and smarter. So great.
Exactly.
Maybe for me, my advice is that maybe stop thinking that robotics is something super far away from where you are. Stop thinking that it's only maybe in movies and that it doesn't really impact your day-to-day life, because I think that sometimes in general the robotics domain looks like something really hard and really complicated and only reserved for some people. But I mean, this is not the case, right? Like, a lot of things are hard in life and you will do a lot of things, and robotics is just one other of those things. And it does impact your day-to-day life, and it will even more in like a couple of years. So yeah, you can do it.
Okay, I'm truly a believer in lifelong learning. So I would suggest every girls, ladies, no matter what industry you are, please keep curiosity and keep learning new things every day. All these small new things add up together. It will get you to next level.
I very much agree what was said here. I mean, you should just try it because it's fun. It's much easier than it looks like, right? And if you don't know how to start, just ask your robotics colleagues, because in robotics, we are all passionate about what we do, right? And it makes us very inclusive environment. We want to share it. We actually want to have people to try it as well. So if you don't know how to start, ask your robotics colleagues. That would be my advice.
Well, thank you to our panelists for sharing your insights. Happy International Women's Day to everyone. Let's continue this conversation beyond this special day. You know, at ABB, we're committed to driving diversity and inclusion. And as part of our 2030 sustainability strategy, this means it's really important that we empowering women in more technical fields and strengthening that allyship at all levels. So today's discussion was just the start. And you know, true impact comes from collective action. So we ask you, how will you contribute to a more inclusive future?